we'll be able to make more orders. We're also going to be having some giveaways at some meetings. We'll have some extra t-shirts. Maybe we'll do like a competition or something, or maybe we'll make a game out of it and we'll give out some t-shirts as well. So if you come to the next couple meetings, you might get a free one. So.
All right, any other questions? Start. No? All right, I'm going to officially start this. I was told to clap. I'll begin it. Yes, okay. All right, let's talk about John the Ripper. The people who make John the Ripper, right here, are called OpenWall. They're a security firm, I guess, company or something like that. They do a lot of some security software, things like that. So you can go to openwall.com. This is where you can get it. They do make a version for Windows, for Mac, for Linux. And you can download the different versions right here from OpenWall. I'm going to be demonstrating on Kali Linux because that's what we installed last class, right? So how to use it. And what it is, it's password cracker. So it cracks hash passwords. And it's only for, well, the way I'm going to demonstrate today is for only local users. So these are users that you have set up locally on your computer, right? It's not something that's authenticated through like Active Directory or a network user of some kind. The user has to be on this computer. Does that make sense? So that's the type of attack that it is. John the Ripper also uses something called password lists to help unhash, dehash the passwords if you want. It's a quicker way of cracking the passwords. There are several password lists that you can find online. I just Googled password lists. And these are some of the things that I was able to download. And all a password list is, it's a text file with common passwords. You can add passwords to it. You can, you know, like remember when Sony got hacked or LinkedIn got hacked, those passwords get out there that people have used, right? And they make lists of those. And those lists are freely available that you can find online. Knowing that, right, even though maybe they didn't log into your LinkedIn account, but people know that people reuse the same password on multiple websites over and over again, right? So if they can get it from one website, then they can try it on other websites and probably gain access to an account or something like that. So it's not recommended that you use the same password for multiple websites, okay? Because Facebook has been hacked, or, you know, a lot of sites have been hacked, right? And you don't want them access to your bank because you use the same password on Facebook as you do on your bank, right? So hopefully you don't do that. So anyway, you get these password lists. I'm going to be using kind of the smallest one right here. I think it just has 207, and this is just kind of what it looks like, right? Password is one of the #1 passwords people use is password, right? They also use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dragon is a very common one. Anyway, if your password is one of these on anywhere, I would change it. Okay? Because it's not very secure. Look at secret.
My name.
Secret. Yeah, so don't use your name as a password.
Mine's right under.
Okay? Because some people will just use their name as the password, right? Easy to remember. But some not so child-friendly ones, right? So anyway, look at those, download these, check these password lists. Make sure your password is not on any of these lists because everybody else has these passwords now. And they can brute force and use those passwords. Here's another one. These are the portable ones. Oops, that's one I'm on. Here's another one you can download. These ones are really big password lists. Some of these are big. I mean, have tens of millions of passwords on the list. Right? Here's another one. And they just send links to all these password lists. Right? Oh, and I have notes and I have links to all these sites right here. So if you go to my hub, again, ethical hacking, you go to documents, all my notes and everything I'm talking about is right here under John the Ripper password cracking. So everything I'm showing you, all the information, these links to these password lists are on that document right there. Okay? So if you didn't bring your computer, if you want to follow along later and do some of this stuff later, it's all right there for you. Okay? These are the exact notes that I'm going through to do that. All right. So, a few things we need to talk about. Yeah, let's just try this out, right? Like I said, you can run this anywhere you want. Linux, Mac, Windows. So let's demonstrate it. All right, so here's my Kali Linux virtual machine. This is what we did on our last club meeting as we set this up. You gotta remember your password, right? Yeah. Get in. Yeah, and for Kali Linux, if you didn't set up a secure password, it's okay. Kali Linux isn't secure. So what I've done here, see here's the password list. I've just saved all of these files to my desktop. Is there a question?
What's the password that you always use? Did they set their own, or because I know that I did.
Kali Linux, if you did like the default install,
The
sometimes
default.
it's root backwards,
Yeah.
T-O-O-R,
Yeah.
so you can try that one.
That's what I thought it was.
If that is, try password 1, maybe with a capital P or lowercase p. If not, you can hack the password and reset it. There's lots of steps, and that's online. So that's beyond what we're going to show you in class today, but in class, I guess it's not class, right? Let's see here. Just show you. So these are all these files. So you see this 207 word list? That's all I'm doing in the command line is showing that right there. I'll show you the word list here. So that's just the top 10 words in the word list. Right there for you. And that's just, it's if it don't fit on this. Oh, Kali Linux has installed. So. Anyway, all right. To install John the Ripper on Kali Linux, I put this again in the instructions. The command is apt-get install John. The program is just called John, right? And that will actually install it in Kali Linux. I already have it installed.
Some versions don't have it pre-installed, and I don't know why.
Yeah, sometimes. Depends which version of Kali Linux you had.
Yeah.
If you got the full version of it, it may be installed already. I downloaded the light version, so if you copied it from my USB drives last time, you have to install it. So you have to obviously be connected to the internet to be able to install it with this command here. And then once it's installed, under password attacks, you should see it there. But all that's going to launch is a terminal with some instructions on how to use it. So since it's a command line application. So you have that installed. Well, if you're working on installing or trying to get into Kali Linux, I'll run a test here. To test John the Ripper, you type John --test. And what this does is it goes through all the different types of hashing and encryption methods that John the Ripper can decrypt. And it gives you a time that it can decrypt that type of hash. Okay? So that's what all of these are here. And these are in milliseconds. And sometimes cycles per second, I think actually is what they are. So these are all the different types of hashes. You can say this will go on for a little while. You can see how quickly it does the different types of hashes. And so, depending on your CPU and how much RAM you have, will reflect on how quick John the Ripper actually works and actually decrypts these passwords. So this will kind of give you a clue as to how long it will take to decrypt if you want to run this test. I'm not going to keep running it. Even does Bitcoin with that BitLocker. It's the encryption Windows uses.
So is it doing it now?
It's not encrypting, it's just showing you times that it would take to encrypt.
Okay.
And it does give you some interesting stats. So what I'm going to do is, because now it's changed in the shadow file, right? I have to recopy it to here. Okay. So I'm going to do, run it again. That's Bart's. And there's Bart's password. Right there. Figured it out. And now to Lisa too. So that's both. Interesting. So it has secret and it has Lisa's digits. Alright. So that is how you do it in Linux. Right? Yeah, you can do it like if you don't want to do a password list and you just want it to do the password list is the quickest way because it just kind of reads from the list and then it has actually something to work with to try and hash it. If you just kind of want to brute force the hash, you can do John show this password list and then it actually cycles through it. Yeah, so it says Bart secret right there. And I'm using simple passwords. Why? Because it's quicker. If someone has a really complex password that's like, you know, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, all this kind of stuff, and it's 20 strings long, this takes a lot longer, right? That's why I'm doing the simple ones. That's why it's going so quick. So if you're doing a password that's 20 characters long, very complex, this will take a lot longer. So you can do the show command if you want, and then it'll actually dehash, and it could take longer, depending on the complexity of the password. Okay? So that's kind of the easy way if you don't want to use the password list. What I like about the password list too, if you do some social engineering and you kind of find out a little bit about the person, or you do some social media stalking on the person and find out their anniversary and what their cat's name is and their kids' names are, you can put that in your list, right? Because a lot of people use those type of things for their passwords. And so you can put that in the list and then it'll just read that as part of your list that you're going through, right? So, so you can use the list or you can just use the show command, you know, that should do it like that, okay?
If you were to break into a remote network that used Tommy Linux, these are the types of commands that you can use on that interface to find passwords all users
Yes.
of that Tommy Linux system.
Yeah, and there's lots of tools out there that will change the password, right? Like when I teach my PC support class, that's one thing we teach as part of it is how to change the password. If like the user comes in and goes, I've got myself locked out on my computer, I don't know what to do. Normally, this is a little bit more troublesome, is going through this to recover a password. So usually we just change it. That's a lot easier. But what's the problem with that then? Like if you're trying to be stealth, it depends what your objective is, right? Your objective is not to be noticed, you're not to be known and to log in as that person. You can't change the password, then the actual person can't log in later, right? So it depends what the objective of it is, right? So, anyway, this one is one that decrypts. So let's do a Windows password, okay? Now, Windows password is a little bit more complex. To get a Windows password, I wish I could. I'm stuck. Stuck in there somehow. Yeah, can't do anything. All right. Once I shut this down, I don't want to shut it down. So, something you need to know about Windows, okay? The password is kept in a file called SAM in your registry, okay? So the location in the registry, I'll just type it up here. It's the HKLM registry, and it's the SAM file. That's where the hashed Windows password is. Now you need another file. You also need the system file in Windows 2. So you need both of those files. You need to know how to get to your registry, right? And back up and save your registry. It's out there. I'll show you how to back up these files from your registry. So you have to open up the command line to read. This isn't going to work because I'm in Linux and I've already done this separately. But it's reg, save, or is it save? Yeah, it's save. That. And then wherever you want to save it to. So if you want to save it to your C drive, users, Jared, desktop, system. So what this will do is make a copy of this file on your desktop there. Okay, so that's kind of the command. Or if it's your SAM file, it would be SAM. That's the Windows command that you would type in Windows. Okay? To get these two files. Okay? So that's what I did. I did that on a Windows machine. I actually did it on one of these machines right here. These machines that are right next to these routers and switches. Because as you can see, those are lab machines. They're not connected to the internet. We give out those passwords to all our students anyways. I don't care if you get on them. You can't connect anywhere to anything, right? It's Cisco. And the password is password with a 0 as an O. Right? Or as a 0, sorry. Right? But then I also added a Bart and Lisa user on actually that one back there by Sam. Sam's in front of you. So you can just see how it all kind of works. So I copied these files, and then I copied them over here to Kali Linux. And I can't get past this terminal.
So the HKLM and the SAS for the system always capitalized, correct?
Yes.
They do. Okay.
Yeah. So what I did is I copied the SAM. Here's the SAM file from Windows 7. I'm going to close this. I got my cursor back. Nice. Oh. I had to push some button. Weird. Oh man. Leah, now I can't get it back. That's what happens when it's live. I should have shut it down. All right, let me.
Take password, I see.
I did not put in the password.
Listen.
She didn't say anything like, that's myself.
I got it, okay.
And
You got it.
So I'm going to restart VirtualBox here. I did something weird. All right, let's go back here. Should kill VirtualBox. Start up VirtualBox again. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so while this is booting up, I'll tell you, there's another program you have to install. And basically what you're going to do is you need to take that system file that we got from Windows and that SAM file, and we have to kind of mash them together. Okay? Because one has kind of some of the user information, and it lines up with the hash password information. Right? They're kept in two separate files. We have to mash them together. So the program that we have to use is called SAMDump2. Not SAMDump1, SAMDump2. Okay? So you install it the same way we install JohnTheRipper in Kali Linux. It's apt-get install Sam dump 2, all one word. I'll type it up here. Let's see it once it's there.
Which word? The Windows
The
machine?
first one from Linux was,
The first program
yeah, the first.
was just doing the program to install JohnTheRipper.
Yeah, the first one, what was it?
That's the command to install JohnTheRipper. And so then the other program you want to install is called Sam dump 2, and then you can install both of them this way if you want. Okay? So apt-get install John, and then Sam dump 2 is for password. And so right here you see my SAM file that I copied from Windows 10. And then I also did a Windows 7 to kind of show you guys too. To show you how this works. So all I did was I went to a Windows machine back there, I stuck in my USB drive, I typed those commands that I typed up earlier, right? Copy those files over to my thumb drive, copy them over here to Kali Linux. Right? So maybe when we have Rubber Ducky, I can show you how to do that automatically, right? Maybe that's Rubber Duckies. You can do something like that. So this is what it'll install. If you hit enter, it'll ask you, it'll just run through it and install it. I already have it installed. So, to kind of mash all those files together, let's see. I'm sure we got it here. Is you're going to do that Sam dump 2 command, and then you'll do your system file. So system. I'll do Windows 7 on. Right? And then you're going to do Sam Windows 7. Okay? When you run it, you'll kind of see what it did. Oh, of course. Of course it didn't error. Let's see, what did I do wrong? Oh, because I'm not on my desktop. I can't find it. So that's what's wrong. Okay. Let me do this again. There we go. There you go. So what it did is it mashed, it took, and you can see, look at your administrator has been disabled on this machine. The guest has been disabled, which you should always do on all your Windows computers, disable guest, right? And then there's a Cisco password. Look it up there on the board. That's Cisco. That's the way we have all our students in this classroom log in onto these machines. So we should find out that the password is password on those machines, right? And then I set up an account for Bart and for Lisa on the system back there by Sam with their hashed passwords. And here are their hashed passwords. Right? So it's actually in 2 parts. One there and one there. One came from the system file and the other half came from the SAM file. So it's a shorter type of encryption. It's called LM encryption that Windows uses. And it separates half the hash here and half the hash here, so we kind of mashed it together using the Sam dump 2 file to create this. Now, we want to create this file, another file for this, right? Just kind of like we did with the Linux one where we copied this information over to another file. So I'm going to copy it over to a file called windowspassword.txt. All I'm doing is copying with this command right here, and that greater than. That greater than will copy all of this instead of having it go to the screen. It's going to put it into this file right here. So if I enter, that's what it'll do. It created this file right here. And if you want to look at that file, you can see that inside that file is the same thing that was in that system file and that SAM file. Okay? So now, the command is a little tougher, a little longer, that you need to be able to encrypt it. I should make this bigger. Sorry, since I rebooted, it's kind of defaulting to say a little bigger. Okay? So the command is John again. Okay? And we can do the show, or you can use the word list. We'll do the show. I think it'll work. We'll try. And then you have to do format for the type of encryption that you're doing. And remember, Windows uses LM encryption or hashing for its passwords. And you can designate a user. Do you remember the users that we had?
Cisco.
Cisco, Lisa, and Bart. Yeah, it would be nice to get administrator, right? We disabled administrator, right? You can type administrator if you want. But we're gonna do, who should we do? Let's do Lisa. I like Lisa. She eats her vegetables, right? And make sure I got this all right. Oh, and then we have to do command. The file. It actually has the password in there, right? And let's see, and did it find it? Did you get her password?
Yes.
Veggies 1, 2, 3. For Lisa. Now I have known there's a little, watch, if we do Cisco, it's not complete. And I think, out of my theory as to why this doesn't work. So if you do Cisco, it's missing the D. Right, it's missing the D. So I think there's another called Hive program that I didn't quite get working that you can use for it as well, but that gets you pretty much there.
It's
The
a
bug.
one password. What is one more?
That would be Bart.
Why did it say?
Because I don't know, I've screwed up with this a little because I've run it and practiced it a few other times, so it throws those things off. Yeah. So guys, that's John the Ripper. What do you guys think? Easy, right? Lots of
Remember all
steps.
this stuff.
Lots of steps, right? There's the commands that you have to learn, right? Like, why do you need to know the command line stuff? Everything's graphical, right? So this is one reason you need to learn the commands, right? Because I didn't show you just how to use John the Ripper, right? That would have been 2 commands, right? But it's how do you copy over those files? How do you get the SAM files? How do you get the system files? How do you get the shadow file? How do you copy those over? How do you put them in the text file? How do you look at there's there? How do you use the password lists, right? The word list, and how to do that. All that kind of stuff I just did in the command line, right? So that's one. And what's another nice thing is you can script all this, so you can automate it, right? So from Windows, if you ever created like a bat script, in Linux it's called a shell script.